So we're gonna go ahead. You know what? To be honest with you, I was going to walk into this video about the profanity lace, um, whatever kind of tirade Tim Pool went on about Candace Owens. I was going to come at it from a comedic standpoint, make fun of it, laugh, and get people to laugh with me and just kind of, because don't get me wrong, I'm a member of the Timcast. I pay the monthly membership and I watch the shows for years now. I've never seen him go off and act this unhinged. I remember there was a time where he had a guest that tried to physically fight him in the studio. It was just him and this guy. I don't think no one else was there that day. And him and this guy got into a fight. They were about to get into a fist fight. Tim wasn't even this mad then. There was other times in the past where he wanted to quit the show and go live down by the river. I know what's happening with Tim right now, and Candace Owens is she's not even a symptom. She's an outlet. She's a punching bag because he can't hit what he wants to hit. I wanted to make fun of Tim, but I can't because I had to keep in mind I'm a man. Tim's a man. I know exactly what Tim's going through. See, there's something different this year and this time around than last year, this time around, or the year before, year before. The difference is now Tim has a wife who is apparently the one juggling the numbers, doing the math. I've never met a man that was happy after he got married, that was bringing in money. He had a woman managing all the funds, and he was in good spirits. Women don't like any expenses unless it's going towards maybe purses or things for them. They don't want you buying stuff for anyone. Even business expenses, women are going to frown upon. They're not going to like them. Now he has a wife managing all the funds, and he's now always complaining about money. But then when Candace Owens makes a challenge to him, he wants to reiterate how everyone knows he's such a wealthy guy. Well, your individual money and money from the business, two separate pots. I'm a man. I've been through this before. See, Tim is what we would call new money. His big money he started making was because of the Trump election of 2020. He's only been around really since then, about 6 years. He's new to making millions of dollars. He's not a novice. The first mistake people make is they usually they blow through it, they lose a lot, then they build themselves back up. It's kind of an ebbs and flow thing. It's never really a steady trajectory. This man has literally been working the entire time, every day, for years. He's never taken off time to go on vacations or enjoy the fruits of his labor. And he's snapping. He's literally losing. He's overwhelmed. He's burnt out. He can't punch his wife, and he has a kid in tow. So all these other plans he had and these delusions of going to live by you can't do that no more. You have you have two dependents, and your wife is not bringing in money. She might work for you a little bit, but she's not bringing in money. So it's you doing all the work. She's telling you where the money needs to go. That's not going to sit well with men. So you know what they do? We take our frustrations out on everyone else. He has to pay Phil Labonte. He has to pay Ian Crossland. He doesn't pay the guests, but he has to pay the overhead for his studio. He has all these different properties. Are they all being rented out by tenants? Nobody knows. Are they sitting empty? Nobody knows. Do I think that his security team is playing him? Yes. Yes, I do. Tim is not a threat. I'm more of a threat with my small little audience and my small little channel than someone like Tim. I say stuff way worse than Charlie Kirk, way worse than Trump, way worse than Ian Carroll. I say things way worse than everybody. The only person that talks like me most of the time is I mean, there's who else do I know that even says some of the stuff that I say? I don't know very many people that I can just think of off the top of my head. But Tim Pool is not an extremely controversial figure. And even his guests are, if the guests say anything too wild, he'll end the show instantly. So none of this stuff is necessary that he's doing. He's not that important where someone's trying to kill him. I think whoever's in charge of his security has been playing him for years. I think his own security team has been staging these swattings, staging the fake shootings. And I think that for a long time, Tim's been trying to find a way to trim his budget, cut the hours of the security, rearrange security. And every time he thinks about doing it, whoever's in charge of his security figures out another way to show him how much they need him. That's why all of a sudden, when he wants to start cutting hours, he starts talking about budgets, magically there's a shooting. Tim, you live in the middle of Tim fucking Buck-2. Nobody is wasting gas to drive way out there to shoot bullets made of ice. Because remember, there's no impact, no glass was broken on his property, nothing on his property was hit, no shell casings. So apparently, and he wasn't home. He wasn't home, but he's taking the word of whoever's in his security. People lie and scam people to make you feel that there is a need for them. Right when you're about to fire somebody that works security for you, they'll stage a fake mugging or a fake attempted robbery just so that you'll think that you need them when you really don't. So in my opinion, Tim Pool's own security is playing him. They're playing him. So that's why he thinks that he's always under constant threat. He's going to use the restroom and somebody might attack him. Tim, you're not, what are you saying that's so bad? Nothing. You're not calling for anyone to die. You don't even say stuff that's true because it might be controversial. I remember back when we were arguing about who's going to take the injection versus who's not going to take the injection. And Tim, even though he said he wouldn't take it, he wouldn't announce it on air. He would wait until the after hours to say, well, I have questions and I'm not going to. He was scared to even announce that he wasn't going to take it. He didn't want to tell the world because he was worried about YouTube, losing his YouTube channel, losing his sponsors, losing his money. And that's the thing. He's married now. I've been in your position. When you're in a relationship, when you have a significant other, when you're married, your other half gets in your ear about the money. Tim Pool now thinks he's losing money because of a woman named Candace Owens. You and Candace are equals. You can't saying Candace is the reason we're going to lose the midterms. She's not an elected official. She's not even in politics. She's not even a part of the Republican Party. She's a personality. Saying Candace Owens is going to cost you the midterms is like saying Jesse Waters is going to cost you the midterms. No, he's not. That's like saying, fuck, if Brandon Tatum doesn't stop all this Israel stuff, we're going to lose. That's not how it works. Candace Owens is not controlling who people vote for. That's not her lane. We should not be leaning on her to lead all these people. He thinks Candace has more influence than him. If you and Candace are the same in the same space, if her arguments are wrong, you can counter them. But why is she the only one that cares about what happened to her friend? I care more about what happened to her friend than Tim. But Tim's met the man. I never even met Charlie Kirk. I just admired his work. Go to my Instagram page, Right Wing Rico. Charlie Kirk's picture has been my profile picture since his assassination. I admired the guy. I like to talk to people, but he was brave enough to talk to Black people. Nobody talks to Black people. But you see why. Black people are celebrating his death because if you talk to a Black person, you have to tell the truth about them. Not objective truth, but the truth based on reality, FBI statistics, crime stats, and they hate it. It takes bravery to talk to people that you hate and tell them the truth. I respected Kirk for that. To tell mentally ill people with gender dysphoria the truth about themselves, I respected that. Most people don't care about them. So they don't care to talk to you. They don't care to tell you the truth. What they do is they just avoid you. We buy a property, we build a fence, and we tell you no soliciting, stay your ass over there. He wanted to come down and engage with these people. I admired that. What Tim is doing is projecting everything he says about Candace is really him talking about himself. He's literally describing himself. He even called Candace a degenerate. But Tim, Candace doesn't gamble, but you play poker. You're describing yourself. She's evil. She's this. But you're the one screaming and yelling and calling her out of her name, knowing she has a husband. Now, let that be my wife. And I bump into Tim Pool. I'm going to shove his beanie up his ass because you watch your mouth. That's my wife. This is a woman with a husband. He's just speaking with such disrespect and disregard for consequences. Where is he getting this bravado from? This isn't even normally his nature. You don't believe me? We'll play some of this clip right here and you tell me what you think.
A large portion of people believe Turning Point, the victim, is actually the perpetrator. That's how terrifying the
Turning Point is nobody's fucking victim. Turning Point turned their back on the Charlie Kirk investigation. Mum's the word. Everybody in Turning Point has been fucking lying. We've went over all of the lies as nauseum. Just because you've decided to plug your ears and close your eyes and go la 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 doesn't mean the rest of us have just also let the world pass us by. Why would we be worried about the midterms? What do we look like accidentally voting for the same people that we're going to find out 3 years from now were behind killing Charlie? I'd rather know now. So until we can figure out what's going on with Charlie Kirk, until we know who to blame, who actually to blame, I'm not worried about politics. I'm not worried about the midterms. I'm not worried about, you got to have some humanity to you. First things first. What if you just throw all your support behind these Republicans and you find out it was other conservatives? Even if they didn't personally kill him, they knew to get his security to stand down. They knew to just get out of the way because there were way too many security windfalls that just fell in the favor, allegedly, of Tyler Robinson. So you mean every security measure went bad? So Charlie just had a really bad luck day. Tyler Robinson just had a really, really good luck day. But yet nobody saw Tyler Robinson on the roof perch take a shot in broad daylight. Drones, security. Mind you, the same fucking security that when Charlie got shot, they all ran over to him, but nobody once took off their fucking glasses just to get a good look at the wound and maybe turn them over so that the wound isn't pouring out onto the ground. Turn them over so that way it's gravity pulling the fluid in where they can try to patch it. Nobody did anything like that. Like it was staged, like we're in a simulation. Like everyone knew exactly what to do and exit stage left. And then they go get the memory cards from the cameras, but they don't take the cameras. But we're evil because we don't want to accidentally get behind the same people who were behind this. But we don't know. We don't know. So we're asking questions to figure out. There are questions on the table. For you to call Candace evil, you're talking about yourself, my friend. And I hate to see him like that. I know the pressures of marriage. I know the pressures of relationships. I know financial. Even when you think you got a lot of money, easy come, easy go. You know, money burns. Money is paper. You could burn through the shit, especially with a wife and child. So, and then his money depends on him being able to sit on a microphone and talk all day. God forbid something ever happens to his voice, or he goes through a mental breakdown. The man works 24/7, 7 days a week. When does he ever enjoy the fruits of any of his labor? You watch a bunch of money in an account, but then you see that money start to fluctuate when views go down. and then your wife panics, and then her panicking makes you panic tenfold. And then you come out here and you lash out at everyone else. Get it together, Tim.
The left doesn't have this degree of self-sabotage. And so if you think about, not only did the left get everything they could have dreamed of from the murder of Charlie Kirk. And again, I don't know what Robinson's political affiliation is. He's got a transferee boyfriend. We'll see what the evidence shows.
So you believe the FBI story?
He's a fool. If you believe the FBI story of Charlie Kirk, you're an idiot. Nobody believes that anymore. Tim's the last person on the internet. And that's the thing. He's not normally an idiot. So I don't know why he would still even pretend to believe the story. To be honest, that transferee boyfriend is not even looking like that boy even exists in real life. And when we did a FOIA request a couple weeks ago to the police station where they said Tyler Robinson turned himself into with his parents, there's no footage. No footage of them parking their car, no footage of them entering the police station, no footage of the interrogation. There's nothing. Apparently, the police department accidentally forgot to save the footage. And after 30 days, the footage is it's reset. But we're evil and duplicitous and degenerates because we're asking questions before we can move forward.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Oh, what the FBI says, Tyler Robinson did all that. So
do you believe that? I think that the evidence we have seen thus far, Occam's razor, suggests Robinson is the likely culprit. We will see what happens in the trial when evidence is presented, but there's literally no other story. Just a bunch of fucking retards on the internet saying stupid shit. Retards on the internet saying stupid shit.
Yet we're listening to a retard in a beanie cry about information that he doesn't have. But other people are retards. But you don't think that you're the retard because you won't even look into the provided evidence. You know, he's so worried about the money because of his wife, that Candace being the threat. He keeps bringing up everyone else is going down, she's going up, and he's pocket watching. He's thinking she's making $2 million a week. A week is what he's guesstimating. And he's seeing that he's hemorrhaging and he has 10 times the overhead. And he's mentioned this. It's the money which is causing him to act like this. And it's because he has a wife now. And that's what Tim's real problem is, unfortunately. But we'll go through the rest of his tirade.
And what that does is the organization that helped get Donald Trump elected, which needs to persist. You don't got to be a fan of it, but it certainly will help get individual congressional candidates elected and stop Democrats from launching new committees and putting more people in prison like Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro. Instead, it's being gutted by fucking psychopaths telling people to pull their donations. So when this organization burns to the ground or whatever the fuck happens to it, maybe they're fine. The organization that's rallying young people, causing a shift in the political leanings of a generation for the first time in history, is now in dire straits.
What are they rallying young people to do, Tim? They're also rallying young people to support Israel. We're off that train, Tim. You're on that train. Didn't you meet with BB recently? And you're so desperate for money. If somebody's buttering your bread, obviously you'll do anything for that money. You know, the beautiful thing about me, right? I'm using one of my extra bedrooms in one of my houses. I live in Texas, but I also live in Arizona. My overhead is low. I sit here and I edit my videos. I make my thumbnails. I buy my equipment. I don't necessarily need editors or people to write scripts. I do live broadcasts and I'm just talking to people. I don't even do pre-recorded. I just talk because, you know, there's things that we need to talk about. Unfortunately, Tim built up a huge overhead, which is it's another mistake of big money, of new money. Being new to money, he doesn't understand how it works. You always want to keep your overhead as low as possible because you always have to prepare for rainy days. This year, everyone's ratings are low, according to Tim. But my ratings are up. My views are up. People sharing my content is up. When I'm getting hit up by people to do sponsors. My sponsors are doing good. Thank you, everybody who follows me, who listens to my words from my voice, who have used cosigning.com, and they've helped you, and I've gotten emails about it. I'm so grateful that I even have sponsors. This is amazing. But for someone like Tim, they're used to being at a certain point when things go down just a little. If you have a woman in your life, she is going to be in your ear and on your ass. I used to have a business partner a few years ago until he got married. And then his wife convinced him that investing in property, investing in business was a bad idea. But when her brother needed to borrow money and her father, and when she wanted those expensive Christmas gifts and she wanted to go to fucking Greece, those were good ideas. And he's the one bringing in money. I've seen this if you've seen it once, you've seen it 1,000 times. We know how this story plays out. He has a woman in his ear and she's driving him insane. What was the name of that girl that used to be on Timcast that was like their permanent member? She was like an Ian Crossland, 2 years ago? And apparently there was a scandal. Her and Tim got caught in bed together, but she had a boyfriend and Tim had his girlfriend. What was her name? Penny? Not Pearl, but Penny. It was something with a P. I'll look it up right now. But even that big blowout did not trigger Tim this much because he didn't have a wife in his ear. He had a girlfriend, but she wasn't entitled to anything. The woman is what changed everything for Tim, and that could ultimately be eventually his downfall. But it wouldn't be the first. Women are a lot of men's downfall, one way or another.
Their leader and founder murdered, and prominent pieces of human trash are trying to destroy it. It's fucking evil. So you know what? When someone pulls in front of my property and fires on it several times, I'm sitting here looking at these vile pieces of shit and thinking to myself, for what purpose will I stick my neck out if this is what happens after Charlie Kirk is killed? Candace Owens is a fucking evil scumbag. She is a degenerate cunt. She is burning everything down, and she's gloating and smiling while she does it. And you know what you fucking told me? She has no security. She doesn't fucking deal with the shit we have to deal with. She's a piece of shit. She's making everyone else suffer, and all of...
I hate to break it to you, Tim, but nobody's suffering besides you. There's nobody in this imaginary universe that is somewhere right now burning and being tortured and tormented because a black chick with 4 kids is sitting in a studio talking to a camera about an investigation into the death of her really good friend. You're talking about her burning down Turning Point. You fucking retard. She fucking built Turning Point. Do you not remember? Why do I have to remind you? You know, do we have amnesia? Was 2017 that far ago? 2018, 2019? Actually, Candace Owens was on tour with Turning Point as recent as 2023, 2024. There is nobody hurting because of Candace. She's a personality. That makes just as much sense as saying we're going to lose the midterms because of fucking Wendy Williams. No, we won't. Candace has a show. She talks to her audience. You know, like, you know, buy. Turn her off if you don't like her. Tune her out. She's not your elected official. She's not your priest. She's not your fucking mother. She has no influence over you. You don't like her, walk away, do something else. Counter her. The only way to counter speech you don't like is with more speech in the other direction. That's the best you can do. Shutting her up isn't the answer.
These fucking conservatives out there that send me these fucking messages have no fucking balls to call her out. More and more people have started doing it. They send me these fucking messages. Good for you, Tim. Good for you, Tim. I wasn't the first person to do it. I'm not going to take credit for that. But don't fucking DM me like I did something for you as you fucking cower, scared that she'll put you on her thumbnail and claim you benefited from Charlie Kirk's.
You deserve to be on the fucking thumbnail. You deserve to be on her album cover if she comes out with it, because you're the only one sitting here like a fucking little active volcano blowing up behind a woman that you barely know personally. You don't really know her. You've been stable in your castle doing your own things for years. You were actually going to partner with the Daily Wire at one point in time. But you guys all bit off more than you can chew by shoving the Israel dick up your asses. And now nobody trusts you and wants to deal with you no more. Ben Shapiro's gone. Jeremy Boring is gone. The Daily Wire is collapsing. If it wasn't What Is a Woman, what would even be at the Daily Wire anymore? They went all in on Israel, a fucking country on the side of the world that is so corrupt and evil that nobody wants to deal with them. You've never called out the genocide. You can't. So just like you have to ignore that, why don't you just ignore Candace? But you need the clicks. You need the ratings. It's not about what's going on in the world. It's about your bottom line. So you're grifting. You said that, well, you know, they always have to do a little bit more for the next time to give people another hit and then get more attention. Are you not the one doing all the escalating right now yourself? You went from swatting to now people are shooting. But there's no evidence anybody was shooting, but my security said it. We don't know who did the shooting, but we're sure it was about the fact that we're talking out against evil. But the last person I called evil was Candace Owens. So what are you saying? You're saying you're saying people that support Candace Owens magically somehow found your obscure property in the middle of no man's land, decided to drive out there, not knowing if there's security or police that might see their car, and just drive out there like some cowboys and to start shooting. That's who shot at your property, some Candace Owens followers. I think you have a bit of paranoid delusion. And it's just amazing. You said Candace was paranoid delusion with her threats. So her threats are fake, but your threats are real. Right. Yeah, but Candace is the one that's influential. The president of literally the president of another country is suing her. There's no dignitaries from any other country suing you. Tim, you're not that special. There are those of us who like you, who paid memberships to be a part of your community, but you're not as special as you say you are. The members are special. We like to go into those groups and we talk to each other. We deal with each other. It's not about you. No more than MAGA is just about Trump. It's actually a community. It's bigger than that. But in his world, he is God. What Jeremy Boring called himself, the God King. Look at that fall from grace. And you thought Tim wasn't going to eventually have the same thing happen to him? You guys never heard of the fact that the pendulum swings? You never knew that what goes up must come down and what's down goes up eventually? That's life, Tim. It's like that with relationships, like that with money. You've just been on an upward trend for so long. Now that things are going down a little bit, you're spazzing out. You're scared. And yeah, you could be up 20, 50 million and you can burn through it if you don't replenish it. That's how it works in the United States. That's how it works in America. Money comes, money goes. You can't let it stress you out to this point. And now you're talking about your health. You can have an aneurysm. You can have a stroke. Yeah, bro, you're burnt out. I haven't seen one picture of him going swimming in a warm island somewhere or doing anything fun. Skateboarding and so talking and working all day. There's more to life, my friend. You need a break. He does need a break.
Assassination, which he's doing to me right fucking now.
Yeah, that was
I'm fucking done with these people.
She has security.
Oh yeah, and by the way, the member of the show that he was caught sleeping with, and he had his girlfriend that he's married to now, and she had a boyfriend who she married, but her name was Sour Patch Lids. Was it Lydia Marie Mitchell? But Lydia. Lids. And Lids was a great member of the cast. And then quietly, once they got caught sleeping together, she was gone. So, and you know, Tim hasn't been the same. You can only bury your head in work for so long before a man is eventually going to crack. Tim is cracking right now. There's no need for what he's doing. He could just do his own thing. Tim used to tell other people, don't worry about what I'm doing. Do you. Do your own thing. He needs to take his own advice, but he can't. Stakes are too high, and maybe the people that are buttering his bread want him to talk more about Candace. He's the only person of prominence openly just attacking her. So of course he's going to be in the thumbnail. And then he's going to and then she's going to let the audience decide, does Tim have a point about me or is he wrong? We trust Candace more than we trust Tim. That's just the bottom line.
Just not on the level of you.
Oh, yeah, the one fat guy you mentioned with no wall and no barrier in a suburban neighborhood with neighbors. Shouldn't give two fucking shits. No one's out for her. She's lying about all of this. You told me you went to her house and she's got a 4-foot wall and one fat guy.
Or, Tim, are you lying about people being out for you? I haven't seen one person make one threatening video ever about Tim Pool, or one person said, yeah, Tim said this today on his show. I should kill him. I hate that guy. I've never seen you say anything that controversial at all. Milo Yiannopoulos is more controversial than you, and he was only a temporary guest for the day. There's no one after Tim. There are actually people after Candace. I think he wants to be more important than he actually is.
And she doesn't give a shit about our security. Meanwhile, I get bullets fired at my fucking property, and I have to go live in the middle of nowhere. And I got fucking strangers coming up to my house in Maryland, breaking in. I got people showing up and beating up the residents who trying to live there. How the fuck am I even supposed to sell this property?
I'll be honest. Everything he's saying, none of it seems outside of the realm of being staged by his own security, so that he doesn't replace them or cuts their hours. I'm pretty sure they make a pretty penny off of Tim Pool. And they're out there in the middle of nowhere. I bet his security part-time lives on the property. He wants to maybe tell them, hey, maybe you guys shouldn't live here. Instead of 12-hour shifts, you're doing 6. Cutting those hours, cutting that income, they want to make sure you know how much you need them. What did Suge Knight say to Dre and those guys when they were getting started? You never know what you need until you need it. I think his own security is playing with his head. And that's where all this delusion is coming from. That's why he thinks he's more important than he really is. There's nobody that would waste a bullet on Tim Pool. It would be a waste. There's nothing he's saying controversial. He's literally just reading the news. If anything, he's a leftist, but because he won't commit to gender mutilation, they say he's on the right. That's it.
And it's all lies, it's all hypocrisy, and it is for the purpose of making money. And she does not live the way other people live. And she claims she liked Charlie, she loved Charlie, and she is burning everything down that he built because she is evil.
Let me correct you on that. He didn't build it. He didn't build it on his own. Candace Owens built Turning Point USA. And then you know what she did? She gave it to him. They built that fucking organization together. That's how she knows everybody there. Charlie and Candace would have likely eventually been married. That's why they put Erica in Charlie's life, to break up him and Candace and to be his handler. And that's why everybody says, or everybody is just, they have this feeling that Erica was one of the first ones that knew what was going on with Charlie mentally. Charlie probably found out about Erica. He probably found out about Tyler. He found out about where the money was going. He wanted out. He found out, he was finally honest with himself about what's going on with Israel. He was honest about the genocide. He wanted no parts in it. And his handler, Erica Kirk, soon to be Erica Kirk Vance, made sure that they knew that it was time to push the button. You know this because when you look at her history, look up Erica Kirk and what she was doing in Romania with the Romanian Angels orphans. Look it up. Don't trust me. Don't believe me. See, I make these videos. I've already done the reading, done the research. Don't take what I'm saying for word. Don't take my word as the gospel. Go look it up for yourself. There's actually news reports and news articles talking about it. How this pretty little blonde-haired, blue-eyed white chick, teenager, beauty pageants that Trump used to manage, magically shows up on the other side of the world working with orphans in a country where she doesn't speak the language. That's a little strange. I didn't see that Barbie when I went to the toy store. I didn't see the Romanian Angels Barbie. I thought, girls like that did other stuff. And then she goes from that to trying to get an internship at Turning Point USA in 2018. But you have a family with money. Your parents work for Israel. They worked on the Iron Dome. You spend your time in the Hamptons. What do you need an internship at Turning Point for? But no one wants to talk about this. Tim never talks about it. But we're crazy and we're retarded because we look at the evidence and there's nothing new under the sun. We've seen honeypot operations before. We've seen women set men up. We've seen everything by now. Nothing about this whole situation with Charlie is unique. This isn't the first time a man was killed and the woman he loved was involved. See, a lot of men are in love. Women are in business. Erica's been reassigned. That's why she's not really involved with TPUSA like that anymore. Her new assignment is becoming the next first lady. Her new assignment is JD Vance. She will be Erica Kirk Vance. Kirk-Vance. She won't drop the Kirk last name. Just FYI.
Evil. She is evil. And I'll say it again. This conservative movement is fractured. It's fried, whatever it is. Okay. Republicans are on track to lose the midterms. They were actually trending in the other direction until Charlie Kirk was murdered.
Yeah.
And this is the point, isn't it? The most effective political assassination in history. And thanks to the likes of the vile cunt Candace Owens, she has turned Turning Point into the perpetrators of the crime that was against them.
Dropping the C word is in the United States, those is fighting words, Tim. And I don't see you being much of a fighter, but those are fighting words. And he drops that word a few times in his little tirade, and it just shows you how small of a man he is. Now, if you would say this to Candace with her husband standing there or to her directly, but to, lace a show that's seen by 1 million people with these rants, yeah, you're going to get a lot of attention, but it just shows you're a very small man on the inside. And you do owe her an apology, by the way.
Them. I don't get paid by any of these people. I'm not on good terms necessarily with Turning Point USA. They didn't invite me to their stupid event. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. They invited me back after I started criticizing Candace. I'm not going to your event. I'm over all of this shit. The last thing that I need to deal with is a bunch of cowards in conservative media refusing to stand up to her. Megyn Kelly, come on. I appreciate the kind words, but come on.
Imagine needing to stand up to a woman that's 5'2", 130 pounds, soaking wet. Imagine as a man, you need to stand up to a woman because of her words. A woman who doesn't pay your bills. She's not your God. She's not your president. She's not your governor. She's not your mayor. She's just a personality that you can turn on or turn off of your screen. You don't even have to watch her. Imagine what must be going on in your sick little retarded mind that you feel she is your op and you have to challenge her. You have to stand up to her. The amount of delusion in this tirade is it should be studied.
Such fucking pathetic bullshit. And I get people saying, Tim, thank you so much for talking about it. I don't care. I'm not doing a favor for anybody. I'm not doing this to benefit anybody. Nobody's paying me. There's no fucking Russia. There's no fucking Israel. There's just me sticking my neck out and then risking dying for what? A bunch of cowards that don't want to stand up to protect themselves? People like fucking Candace Owens?
I couldn't believe that she put you in the thumbnail.
Phil, shut the fuck up. Why do you think Phil is so quiet? Because Phil knows that Tim is sensitive. Ian definitely knows that Tim is sensitive. And if they don't rub Tim's little ego, they're kicked off the show with prejudice. Just ask Lids. Just ask anybody else that challenges Tim on his show. It's a shame. You know, just like a little puppy, he sits over there and he has to kiss Tim's ass, and you know, you can't even counter him. You can't even go against him. You have to go along with him. You can't. It's a sad state of affairs. So Phil, you're a smart guy, but you're smart enough to know that Tim will kick you off his show, and then what are you gonna do? Just go back to doing music and going on tour? You know, this is kind of your life right now. Again, Phil even knows who butters his butter. He knows who butters his bread too. So it's just it's shameful.
Fucking cunt.
Of her piece today.
I'm done.
The idea that she'd
I'm
imply
fucking
that you had some benefit or that you benefit somehow. Like
she benefited. I think she's a Fed, and I think she killed Charlie. No one benefited more than her. And now she is, when you look at what's stopping us from winning in 2026 right now, what the biggest threat and the biggest fear we have is, it is the disarray on the right. It is the fracturing of the coalition of all the different voices that came together and stopped the neoliberal bullshit liberal economic order machine that was coming out and telling everybody to chop their dicks off, and that you had to get fucking injected or get locked in your house. And here we have a coalition resisting and rejecting that. Charlie Kirk dies, and he's not perfect. He loved Israel. Some people don't like that, but he certainly did organize a movement that brought people together, that helped get Trump elected, helped Republicans win, and resisted what the Democratic Party had been doing and these psychopath institutions. I don't want to go back to...
So to hell with everything Charlie Kirk said about no longer wanting to be a part of the Israel lobby or supporting the Zionist movement. So to hell with the fact that all came out, all verified, and you're just going to shit on Charlie's legacy by pretending he was pro-Israel up until the very moment that he died. You know, go fuck yourself, Tim. You're so selfish right now, and you're so delusional. Just because Charlie's dead doesn't mean the rest of us are going to now allow them to cut our dicks off and inject us with experimental substances that are going to give us heart attacks and cancer. Those days are over. With Charlie, a lot of us weren't going to do it. Now, as far as who we were going to register to vote for, Charlie made a big difference with that. People were disconnected from politics. Charlie brought kids that were going in different directions to the table. He made them understand that the things that you believe in means that you're a conservative. And there's nothing wrong with you because you don't think that men should be kissing men. He did a very good job portraying that to people and getting people to understand that there was no shame into coming over and being honest about their beliefs in God and in the country and being patriotic. Even though everyone that you come in contact with in the public that's either black or gay is going to tell you that being a patriotic person who loves their country and God means that you're an evil white supremacist. He was able to counter that. But never forget, those people still exist, gays and blacks, and the rest of us are still here, and we still have our same values. It was not all only because of Charlie. Tim is putting certain people in God-like status. They're still just men, and we're all just individuals. We have to make decisions for ourselves. Tim is leaning too much on Charlie, leaning too much on Candace. They're not your parents, Tim. And some people lean too much on you, but you've shown people how unstable you can be. So now people are jumping ship and going to Candace, who seems to be more level-headed than you. Not ever has she went on a screaming match about how frustrated she is with some guy named Tim Pool. You make yourself look pathetic. And I really hope somebody talks to you and you get it together, but who can talk to you? Your ego's too big and you'll fire them if they do. And a lot of these people live on your compound because you live too far away to commute. So Ian's not going to say nothing. Phil's not going to say nothing. Who else is there? The guy that you bring in from the show, who's a part of the Timcast member, no one's going to say anything to Tim. There's a bunch of yes men around him. And that's unfortunately a blind spot. And that could also be a contribution to his own downfall.
COVID. Does everybody remember what that was like? When you were locked in your home, you had to wear 2 masks and you couldn't go anywhere unless they stuck you in the arm. And the only resistance we had was these feckless loser Republicans who've got nothing done over the past year. And now Charlie Kirk was murdered. And we say, holy crap, what do we do? How do we keep things together? And Candace, with a smile on her face, and Ian Carroll and all the rest of them say, Turning Point did it to themselves. They destroyed themselves. Pull your donations because they work for us.
Let me see. For him to bring up Ian Carroll, he's literally looking at everyone who's doing numbers. So daily, Timcast used to average 100 and something thousand views. Now his views are 40, 50K. Ian Carroll, who's literally filming from his bedroom, 50K. Jesse from Jesse on Fire, 40, 50, 60K. Candace Owens, millions. And tiny budgets. We're just really in our rooms talking to other people. And he's envious of that. He thought he needed to build his own CNN studio. Expensive, high res, red, what is it called? Red light cameras and all this super expensive equipment and this huge staff, overhead, big properties, fences. Who gave you the advice and told you somebody's going to try to kill you so you need to live in these expensive compounds? And you didn't need to do all that. You did it too soon, and now you're feeling the weight of the overhead, and it's a lot of pressure on him. But he's naming off all the people that he's noticing are getting similar or higher numbers than him, but they're seemingly doing it for less.
Tez calling it out, saying this is psychotic. So when we lose in the midterms and the Democrats bring back their panels and their subpoenas and they start arresting people like they had already done in the past 4 years, and then we get whatever the equivalent of lockdowns is going to be, and you get President Gavin Newsom, you can mark it all back to this moment when you had evil stand, scream, and cowards refuse to do anything.
You won't be able to trace this back to Candace Owens. If we get a Gavin Newsom as a president, it'll be due to fraud. It'll be due to a war. It'll be due to a Trump assassination. It'll be due to some other huge event where they can just come in and they'll just tell you who your leader is going to be, tell you who your president's going to be, and everything breaks down. But that's the only way we're going to get a Gavin Newsom presidency. But are they going to try to do another lockdown? Of course they are. But is it going to come down ultimately to the people? Are you going to acquiesce or are you going to say no? I said no to the first lockdown. I have all the videos and records. I kept going and I did this the entire time. I lost everything. I lost all of my social media platforms. They kicked me off of YouTube, kicked me off of Facebook, kicked me off of Instagram. I've had to rebuild myself 3 separate times. This is my 4th iteration, actually. But it comes with the territory. When you're speaking out against what's coming, that's what's going to happen. Don't get too comfortable. Tim played it safe during the lockdown, played it safe during the elections. This is why I'm saying now is a weird time for him to all of a sudden be losing his shit. It would have been more justified a couple of years ago.
With all due respect, always every single president loses in midterms.
And guess
every
what?
Every single one.
The prediction markets showed that it was near 50-50 based on the political swing that we had seen. Gen Z, the first generation in 100 years to tick slightly rightward in some areas, not all, but some. And this was a big moment because while they were very similar to millennials, they were slightly more conservative in some areas. And we saw that in the past couple of years, Gen Z was actually skewing away from LGBTQIA issues. How is this happening? It is not only nor solely, but largely Charlie Kirk and his work with Turning Point. And so Turning Point certainly has its issues, but there's literally no reason to burn it to the ground. Unless, of course, it makes you famous and rich.
There is no Turning Point without Charlie Kirk or Candace Owens. Remember, they're the ones who built it in the first place. So without Charlie and without Candace, it burns to the ground on its own. Turning Point was a platform for certain personalities. Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens's personalities to be exact. Turning Point USA has not been able to replace those personalities with anyone. Not Brandon Tatum, not Troy, whatever the hell that other guy's name. None of them have been able to step up to the plate and take the reins. They're not going to be able to do it. So pretty much Turning Point is no more now than a fundraising platform to give money to conservatives, maybe. But allegedly, they're also a platform where they're trying to get young people to register to vote. And those registrations, they're able to use, they're doing data mining. They're able to pull those people's information, put them in a database, sell their names, phone numbers, and emails to advertisers. There was a geo-fencing thing with Israel going on with all these different churches. That's all Turning Point is now. There is no more an influential organization because, well, they don't have any influencers. What do you think? Somebody's going to want to listen to Jack Hammer, whatever the fuck that fucking the guy that looks like the evil villain from Aladdin. You think he's going to influence anyone? No. Charlie Kirk was a once in a 200-year personality. That's not going to be replaced. The only thing that we have close to that is Candace, who is still here. And apparently she's the envy of a lot of these people that think that they should be better than her, but they're not. So it is what it is, but you're putting too much on Charlie. You know, the show must go on. And if you learned anything from him, it should have been to be strong and to keep moving forward. And you think now it's all over because Charlie's gone. But Tim, you had the opportunity. You could have been the next Charlie. You could go around the schools. You could go work for Turning Point USA if you care so much about them staying afloat. It's burning down without some personality taking over. Why don't you go throw your hat in the ring? Why don't you go volunteer and go see if you can get on stage with the Turning Point and see if you can help them? But you're selfish, so you're not going to do that. So miss me with all this. Oh, Candace, this, that, and the third. Candace built fucking Turning Point.
You know, so I guess by all means, my issue right now is
people are shooting at you. That's obviously your
certainly
100%. But we lost Charlie Kirk. You're thinking about, taking off in the sunset. Who we got left? So Charlie's gone.
Candace Owens. Congratulations.
Okay. We got Candace Owens too.
Good. So you can spin around with your dick in your hand while you sound like a retard to the average person, and then Democrats win.
I mean, but you're taking off.
Yeah, you know why? Because people are not. When I get private texts and messages saying like, "Oh yeah, I agree with you, but I would never dare say anything," I'm like, I'm not doing this. My whole life, I have had a disdain for those who demand others work for them. Now, I hold on for a minute. Like, I understand we all work for each other. I'm saying, I remember when I was younger, I was like, we're in Chicago, I skateboard, but there's nowhere to skate in the winter. So what do we do? Well, holy crap, I figured something out. If 10 of my friends come together and put $100 down every month, we can actually rent a warehouse. And you know what they all said? You do it and then let me know and I'll think about it.
Yep.
And that's the world, and that's what people do. So when people message me saying I wouldn't dare speak up against Candace, I'm just like, oh, fuck off, dude.
Well, I mean, speak out against her and say what? You do understand if you speak out against her, you're going to have a counterpoint. Maybe these people aren't speaking out against her because they don't actually have a counterpoint. They just have emotions. And they're just speaking from jealousy and envy and emotion. They don't really have a point. They're not going to say, well, she's wrong about this, and this should be this. They don't have one, or they would say it. He doesn't have one. He went on a 10-minute tirade saying that she can destroy the midterms and what she's doing, but he never gives any details and say how. He's just speaking in general. All emotions. He's turning into his own mother. He's turning into his wife. That's why I said this is his wife talking. This is not him. Tim was way more manly than this. I've never seen him cry and bitch so much. So fucking pathetic. But like I said, he sounds just like my buddy. That wife started talking him out of doing stuff for work, but talked him into taking cruises and spending money on vacations. That's exactly what Tim sounds like. Like I said, I've heard and seen it before. Look, we're going to stop this video right here. I got 5 other videos to do tonight. We have 5 other topics. We're going to be on live for a while. So we're going to end this here. I appreciate you guys tuning in. This has been a really big audience. Thank you guys for sharing this. Like the video, subscribe onto the YouTube channel, The Single Boyfriend, Rico Limbaugh. I really do appreciate all the comments. I appreciate you guys sharing my content and visiting the website for my sponsors, cosigning.com, Table for Two. I greatly appreciate it. And they appreciate it. And they've actually told me thank you. And I want to thank you guys. So I'll be back on in about 10 minutes. I'm going to get some more water. And I have other topics coming up to talk about. I'm not going to waste too much more time on Tim. I didn't think we were going to be here for almost an hour, but just to watch this man who I've had so much respect for, just breaking down in front of us. You know, I've seen this before. And it usually happens right after a man gets married. So just keep that in mind. Like and subscribe, share the video, put me in the algorithm, click like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Apparently, I need to start saying that more often. I'm just not used to, you know, trying to encourage people to subscribe to me. I just figured, hey, if you like what you hear, you want to hear more, if you like my topics, please tune in. But please like the video, put me in the algorithm, and they'll spread it out. You know, if you share this video, if everybody who watched this video shared it today, we'll be bigger than Fox News in about 2 weeks. Well, that's what Tim used to say. That's what Tim used to say. And we used to all go share it. So I'm telling you to do the same so we can share my video. So thank you very much, Rico Limbaugh, The Single Boyfriend. I'll be back shortly. And remember, America first and America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.